Welcome to the Caffeinated Comic Club, a weekly gathering for comic readers who also have opinions about, well, everything.
Each month we're going to break down a full run, react to news in the comic world, gab about our weekly pools, and also sprinkle in our takes on other pop culture and media.
So pour yourself a cup, pull up a chair, and tell us, what are you sipping on? I did not hate it this week, but I did not love it this week. To be fair, I did read that miniseries and begged you not to read it. So I don't know what the lens is for you, but I do know that I think that you would have desperately hated it. Oh my god, what happened? What are you drinking?
That was gross. A cherry slush Alani.
Is it like a small can?
Yeah, it's like a mini can.
They make mini cans?
Yeah.
One, I didn't know that, and two, I don't think I've had the cherry slush.
It's also not cold, so that could be like a major player in it. It's warm.
Okay.
Because I am a heathen.
You're feeling very German today. I feel that. Isn't it crazy that they don't put ice in anything?
I mean, as someone who grew up in Texas, my mom used to buy Cokes on the regular because she would always get a deal on them. And we would run out of room in our fridge in the garage, so we would just have like stacks of them next to the back door. And sometimes I didn't want to walk all the way around to the fridge, so I would just take a Coke out of the box next to the door in 120-degree weather because the garage is hotter than outside, and I would just drink it without putting ice in it or anything like that.
Okay, so two things. I have been known to drink a room temp Dr. Pepper. In the 50s, people would boil Dr. Pepper and drink it like a hot chocolate. Okay, so with that context.
Interesting.
Second, that is diabolical. Coca-Cola hot, I cannot fathom that. Diabolical. I support you. In your evil ways.
Listen, I didn't say it was good, but sometimes you just want a Coke and and the other thing is, I didn't want to let my parents know that I was having one, so you would just take it. You couldn't put it in a glass.
You know what?
They'd be like, "What are you drinking?" And I'd be like, So.
See the thought process allowed. Welcome back to the Caffeinated Comic Club. Marsh is drinking a cherry slush. I'm drinking a Diet Coke. We are back on our bullshit.
And I have a vanilla cherry Coke Zero.
I always forget that you stay cold. Double fisting.
I have 3 drinks today.
The triple fist. Wait, what Topo Chico is that though?
What
flavor?
Just the regular one.
Just spicy water. I got you.
Just spicy water, exactly.
Housekeeping before we dive into this week's X-Treme X-Men. This is a very spoiler-filled podcast. If it's your first time, just so you know, you're getting all of the details. Stay with us, though. Next month is April, which means it's Marsha's birthday month. Do you want to announce what we are reading in honor of your birthday?
I'm so excited. So, for my birthday month, we will be reading Mark Waid's Fantastic Four run. It will be my, 3rd or 4th time, and it will be Gare's first time. And we're going to have a blast. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. It'll be my first Fantastic Four run, full run. I've read things here and there, and I've been reading John Byrne very slowly because I have to read a lot of X-Men books too. And usually by the time I'm done with Extreme X-Men, I don't want to read comics anymore for the week. That's where my brain's been going lately because of Claremont. Scrambling, frying, over-easying my brain.
That's fair. After I finished... Actually, today I was like, I need to read something. And so I was like, I'm going to read my library books that I've had for ever that I haven't read because Extreme X-Men has been frying my brain. When I've, like you said, when I finish it too, I'm like, I'm done. It's over. I can put the book down now.
Yeah, that's really how I felt the first week, and then last week was a little bit better. This week was kind of closer to the first week. I finished it. I usually am done a day or two before we record. We extended recording this week, by the way. We usually record on Sunday. It is Monday night, and I wasn't done with the books until 1 p.m. today. So
you pulled a me.
And we're going to see if these notes hold up. We're going to see. Also, before we dive, we've still got a couple of other housekeeping to talk about, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now. A lot of things happen in these issues, a lot of things. So this week is a bit more of an overview than it usually is for me. I say that, I'm still probably going to be long-winded. You know how long-winded I am, but it'll be slightly less winded. What are your pulls for the week? You had another big week, right?
It is another big week this week. Actually, I was actually looking at it earlier. It's still up on my computer.
I have mine already pulled up
But
too.
let's see. I'm just gonna go in the order that Comic Geeks has it. So I have Absolute Wonder Woman number 18, Detective Comics 1107, and I'm only getting that because it has Green Arrow and Black Canary in it. Fantastic Four number 9, the Fantastic Four First Foes number 1, The Flash number 31 because Ryan North is now the writer on the book. He also writes the Fantastic Four. Green Lantern number 33 because Kyle Rayner is back. Iron Man number 3, The Peril of the Brutal Dark and Ezra Kane Mystery number 2. Rafael Garcia Henchman number 1. Shout out to Indie Comics, Andrew, for putting me onto this one. This sounds really interesting. Rogue number 3, Skin Breakers number 7, and White Sky number 2. And that concludes my pulls this week.
I'm glad you clarified about Black Canary and Green Arrow being in Detective Comics, because I was like, what the fuck? When did you get back on that shit? Because I have a Detective Omni, but I'm afraid that I'm going to like it so much that I'm going to want to read more. And 1107 is a crazy number.
Yeah, there's a lot of Detective Comics. That's for sure. But yeah.
Oh, Lord. I also didn't know that
What do you
Ryan North
have?
was writing The Flash now. I had no clue that he was moving over to The Flash.
He is. When I heard that, I was like, well, looks like I'm picking up The Flash now. So here
I'm
we
assuming it's Wally Flash. I don't know if Barry is even alive, but I assume it's Wally Flash.
It is Wally West, yes.
Okay. Well, my pulls, I can't tell you a number, so I'm just gonna read them. Uncanny X-Men number 25. We're so back. I'm so ready. Fantastic Four number 9. Wolverine. No, not Wolverine. Sorry, I'm not getting the Weapons of Armageddon book. I don't even know what's happening in that, but I was like, I can't do it right now. I already have one Wolverine title. One's enough for me. It's a bit too straight. Rogue number 3, Psylocke Ninja number 3, Inglorious X-Force number 3, Generation X-23 number 2. Holy shit, I didn't know how many I had. Wiccan Witches Road number 4, Fantastic Four First Foes number 1. I'm kind of interested in that. So if it's there, I'm going to pick it up. Side Dimensional Rivals number 3. I said it out loud and I'm like, I actually don't think I'm going to pick it up because I really didn't like the first two. That's it for Marvel. And then for DC. No, wait a minute.
I didn't realize that was just Marvel. It's like, what?
Nothing for DC. Oh wait,
No,
DC's Superman, Spider-Man, I might pick up if it's at my LCS. I might pick it up. Oh, the Detective Comics cover looks really cool though.
Forgot that one. That is also on my pull list.
I haven't looked at the variants, and so I'm just going to let fate choose for me. And then Image Comics, oh, what do you know? Skin Breaker number 7. Yeah, so
Because
that is my pull.
You're so caught up.
I've read every single issue 3 times. I love it. So yeah, a lot of Marvel, like a lot of X-Men books specifically, and then Fantastic Four, pretty much is all I'm getting.
You know what's funny is I heard your X-Men pulls, and I was like, man, he already has a lot of pulls. And I was like, the summer's coming, and there's lots of more X books coming out too.
A lot more. There's a Bishop series. There is, oh my God, and so many X-Men Outback. Like it's just kind of nonstop. And you know what? I should be grateful.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
I'm not. I'm like, it's such a weird duality because like as an X-Men fan, I am very excited that there's so much content coming. As a person who like works to make money, I'm like, oh God. And then like as someone who's like socially on the internet in a community where people talk about books, especially books that I'm reading, I'm like, this is too much. There's too many variables for people to be mean about X-Men in my periphery again. And I don't want it. I don't like seeing it.
Wait, I had one more because I was looking at the stuff that's coming this week, and I saw that Bruno Redondo had first off, I don't even read this series. Okay, I just saw that Bruno Redondo was making a cover for this, and it's Justice League Unlimited number 17. But I have to show it to you because you might see the vision of why I needed it. And
I'm afraid you're gonna make me want it too. Now, who is that? Is that Booster Gold?
That's Booster Gold and Ted Cord, aka the Blue Beetle. And I was like,
is it like Step Brothers? It's like Step Brothers vibes.
It's like Yeah, but it also gives me like the 80s vibes with like the bad like pictures that you get from like Sears or whatever, you know?
If we
I was
ever meet
like,
in person, if we
I need
when we, not if we ever when we meet in person, we should recreate for the podcast
yes,
art.
agreed. Agreed.
That would actually be so iconic.
The podcast art.
Could you imagine like my bald head like transitioning into like a moon behind us?
Hang on. Speaking of your bald head, sorry. Chris saw your pictures on Instagram the other day and he was like, "Is Gare wearing a wig?" And I was like, "No, honey, that's just an old photo of him. Much like you used to have hair, he also used to have hair."
The one of me and Kaylee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the first picture. Okay, my thought process. I picked that's the oldest picture of us I could find. I have older, but like in my camera roll it was the oldest. And I was like, damn, my hairline looked so good here. And it was like it all went away so fast. Like that was the last good photo of my hair. That's so funny. Oh man. Speaking of bald, I guess we should talk about Professor Xavier's X-Treme X-Men. Except they're not Professor Xavier's. They actually kind of can't stand his ass, and I do love that. I say kinda. Some of them don't. So, in prep for Extreme X-Men, I made a reading guide. And on the week 3 reading guide, there was issues 1 through 6 of this miniseries called Mechanics about Kitty Pryde in college. And I started reading early, and I read it, and I was like, Marsh, what if you just didn't read this? And I just, like, gave a very brief thing about it because it's one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever read, and I did not want to talk about it at all. And
Hang on. Hold on. Since I didn't read it, is it worse than like the first like 7 issues of this book? You said is it worse than Savage Land?
it's worse than Savage Land.
Nothing can be worse than Savage Land, surely.
Thankfully, March agreed to not read it. So I'm just going to very briefly tell you what it's about, and I'm going to explain why I hate it so much. So Kitty Pryde, just a little backstory. Kitty Pryde's dad was killed in the Genosha bombing, and she's off to Chicago College, whatever the college is called there. And she's also in therapy. She doesn't want to talk to her therapist at all in therapy. She sits there and she just stares at her therapist the whole time. Kitty Pryde being a brat. You know, since we've known Kitty Pryde, has she been a brat? Yes. Kitty starts school at the same time as, like, you know, Professor Charles Xavier announces to the world that the X-Men are mutants. Like he like they all go public, you know? And so on the rise is this wave of hatred and this like group called Purity where they out all of the registered mutants at the college on a website. And they also try to find out who other mutants are. And so they're suspicious of Kitty and they're like, "You're a mutant, girl." And she's like, "Yeah, I am, girl. And I'm also a bartender now, even though I'm 18. And they're like, "Well, we hate you." And she's like, "I don't care." Okay, so this is in the first issue. There's 2 people in that Purity group that are dating this one horrible evil lady and then her horrible ugly boyfriend who was friends with Kitty up to this point. Well, because he finds out that Kitty is a mutant, he's like, "Well, maybe mutants aren't bad because I kind of like Kitty." So he leaves that group and joins sides with Kitty, and it's like, "I like a mutant." So then they also have these things. This Purity group have created like these baby sentinels that are flying around the college town to try to like kill mutants. And so for the next 6 issues, it's the longest, most drawn out story of Kitty, this ex-bigot, her old friend Shan from the New Mutants, and this random dude who could make things go boom, fighting for what? Peace in the name of mutant kind and to try to make people not hate them anymore. It's a tale as old as time in the X-Men world. And it's also a tale as old as time in the world of Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde has always been the OG Tumblr social justice warrior. And so it's just 6 issues of Kitty being like, "I'm Jewish and a mutant. And my dad is dead." That's it. And it ends with nothing. The bad guy gets a hold of another baby sentinel. And Kitty's still working at the bar, and people still hate mutants. And it's 6 issues, and that is what I'll say about it. Because then,
no.
go ahead.
Hold on. I'm gonna come to Kitty's defense on the daddy part. Okay, on the dad part.
The dad part is fresh. It is
Sometimes,
fresh.
sometimes, you know, that does happen. You lose your dad. It all happens to everyone. Sometimes some people make it their whole they make it their whole now like thing that they wear all the time. They just like are always like, "Oh, hey, my dad's dead. Oh, hey, my dad's dead. I'm sad." Like people do that. They make it their whole personality. There's the word. There's the word. Gare. They make it their personality.
Yeah.
So,
and I will say, like, there's a bit of that going on here, but mostly, like, the reason why I brought up these things about her is that it's just Claremont constantly reminding us that she's Jewish, that she's a mutant, and that her dad is dead. Like, but with nothing to further the story, and it feels like there are, like, paragraphs in this book that are added just to make 30 pages. Because I feel like they were like, we want a 6-issue Kitty Pryde miniseries in college and give her this sexy life. And so they didn't do that, but they did put her in her panties and bra on a cover of the comic. And I was like, I know she's 18 now, but this is a child. Please stop. What is going on? It was like they tried to market it as the sexy co-ed thing, but it wasn't that at all. It was just really boring. Really, really boring.
So I will say, since I didn't read the miniseries, right? I just jumped straight back into X-Treme X-Men. I was a little jarred. It was jarring for me, at least, because, like, the last Kitty Pryde I seen was she was, like, 14 or 15 years old or whatever, and just, like, kissing Peter, which was also weird. And then all of a sudden she's, like, in a bar serving drinks to people wearing these, like, clothes that are, like, non-existent, and I was like, what is happening? I was so confused about everything when I was reintroduced to Kitty.
That outfit is crazy because it's literally just a piece of fabric tied around her. Like, it's a piece of fabric that covers her boobs and it's tied around her back.
You know, but I mean, that was very common in the early 2000s. But yes. I will say, though, seeing Kitty in it was weird. And I also couldn't tell it was Kitty, like, 90% of the time. I was like, who is this woman? Oh, it's Kitty. Oh, okay.
It was bad. And, like, the only people that I would recommend it to are people who read OG New Mutants and wanted to see what Shan is up to. Like, that's it. Because, like, her story in it was actually lovely. But, like, Kitty's story did nothing to further the plot of X-Treme X-Men, because when we do see her again in X-Treme X-Men, she is working at that bar. She is going to therapy, and she is kind of sad. It's basically just how we saw her last week when she was hanging out at Rogue's Louisiana mansion. When she was like, all my friends are dead, and I'm going to Chicago. That was it. 6 issues of that. But after Mechanics, we get into the Stryker saga. God kills... What is it? God Loves Man Kills 2? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We get into God Loves Man Kills 2. What's going on in my brain?
God Loves Man Kills 2.
Which is Claremont's unofficial sequel to God Loves Man Kills back, the graphic novel that he wrote back in the day. It's a very classic, once again, social justice warrior Kitty Pryde comic. It is very, very, very good. I live for the way that story is told. What I will say is that this, while enjoyable, does not hold a candle to that quality. So if you're out there listening and you haven't read God Loves Man Kills, you should, because it is very good. But are you ready to dive into these issues?
I am ready to dive into these issues.
Okay. We open in issue 25 with William Stryker, the villain of X-Men 2, X-Men United, if you've seen the films but not read the books. He is being escorted like he's some kind of political figure instead of a genocidal maniac from prison. I think he's like literally on his way to give a human rights speech, and it's like making the news that he's getting to go give this speech, and the X-Men are like, why is he getting to be out just traveling freely? Just for backstory, he came really, really close to wiping out all of mutant kind, and we see him at the very beginning of this issue ministering to a death row serial killer, which was very jarring, by the way. How did you feel about that scene? I was like, oh, this is setting the tone real quick.
So I don't know anything about Stryker, and so I was like, oh, okay, so we have a criminal giving a sermon to another criminal on death row? Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm. He's kind of the X-Men equivalent to Hitler.
I knew from the beginning, like, the second that I saw, like, him in general, like him doing the sermon, I was like, I'm not gonna like him. Not even a little bit.
The X-Men are having kind of mixed reactions about it. Logan is like, this guy's old news, like, we've dealt with him, but Sage is not convinced, and she's right. Because on the plane, carrying him to wherever he's going, a co-pilot suddenly guts the other pilot with claws. Another crew member gets decapitated pretty quickly. The attacker sends out a distress call blaming the X-Men, basically framing the X-Men for what's happening in the sky. and it is revealed that it is Lady Deathstrike in disguise. Lady Deathstrike is a former lover of Wolverine, was raised by William Stryker, also in X-Men 2, X-Men United. Yes, she
Okay.
pretty much murders everyone, frees Stryker, and casually strips out of her disguise. But the two of them reunite, and it's basically like, really, anytime I see them together, I'm just like, why in the fuck are these two hanging out? Because he hates all mutants, and she's like a very scary mutant. Like, I feel like she's like who he should be afraid of. And it's both basically just like different methods, same mission, kind of father-daughter love, insane. Just ridiculous. Something happens with some gunfire and the plane starts to go down and the X-Men are framed for mass murder. Does it show it on the news? I feel like...
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, they were talking about it on the news. Yes.
Yeah, so they're talking about it on the news. Back in Chicago, Kitty Pryde's in therapy. We get to relive some of her past with Stryker. He put a gun to her head when she was a child. It talks a little bit about Colossus and Ileana being dead, and you can feel how close she is to snapping. She's also working as a bartender, as we said before, and she's wearing her version of X-Treme X-Men outfit, which is a leather piece of fabric and some leather pants, and she's a woman now, so she's like being sexy. She immediately gets snatched at the bar. She gets knocked out with a sonic blast. Deathstrike grabs her, and of course, Stryker steps out like a horror movie reveal and says that she's perfect.
So gross. He's so gross.
He is gross, and the fact that with the stuff that happens in God Loves Man Kills, Kitty is very much the focus of that and is very traumatized by that. And so the fact that he remembers her and goes out of his way to get her is just even grosser. Especially where this storyline ends up at the end. I'm like, we'll talk about it when we get there, but I hate this man deeply, and I don't love the way that Claremont wrote him in this book, I will say. Even though Claremont created him, I don't love him. In issue 26, the team investigates the crash site and runs straight into a group called the Purifiers. They're Stryker's extremist followers, and they get fucked up. Cannonball, who we met last week, who just joined the team, gets netted in the air. He's flying, and he gets hit with a net. Wolverine gets covered in this anti-healing sludge that messes him up. Sage gets knocked out. They're all seconds away from being murdered. Storm and Bishop turn the tide though, but even then the Purifier's tech is designed specifically to counter mutants, which means that this was premeditated. It also kind of echoes the very beginning of this series where the people that were attacking them learned from their powers and were able to adjust. That was very much the vibe I was getting here too. And I'm tired of that shit, to be frank. I want things to be easier for the X-Men. And for me, I'm like, can they just rest? No one's ever hanging out. No one's getting to chill.
They already chilled. They had that whole issue where they chilled, Gare. They had the cake, and everybody was there, and then Kitty ruined the vibe.
Kitty ruined the vibe. And everyone wanted Storm to be their queen. Beast, you naughty girl, Storm.
Yeah, it's so gross.
Back to Stryker. He isn't just holding Kitty hostage. He's attempting to break her down psychologically. He's got her trapped in these hallucinations where her younger self accuses her of ruining her life, which was really sad to see. She's seeing visions of what her life could have been, her being a ballerina, her being a lawyer, her being a mother. She sees some of her dead loved ones come back. Colossus, Ileana with a fuck ass bob, which was crazy to see. I hated that bob. I said, get off this page. And then Kitty's dad appears, and she's calling him daddy, and his face morphs into Stryker, which also felt very weird too.
That was really gross. I was like, wait, that's her dad. Why is it Stryker? And I was like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah, and they had her calling him daddy. It was a lot, but. A key thing about this is that even in her weakest moments, she's still resisting. I just love that about Kitty Pryde. Stryker takes Kitty hostage, and they're both wearing these suits made of adamantium, and she phases away from him. It's supposed to stop her from phasing, but she phases away from him and phases across the country, which was really cool. I thought was a really cool thing that she did, and she ends up at this place, Mount Haven, and Stryker is there too. He's still wearing the adamantium suit though, for some reason. Kitty is not. The X-Men are dealing with their own chaos at this time. Storm is losing control of her powers. The environment is going haywire around her. Sage suggests that Kitty might somehow be causing it, and it's because she phased across the country. Did you understand this? I was like,
when they brought that up, I was like, I don't understand how phasing through the earth can, like, she faces through stuff every day, and I was like, maybe there's like this like big back lore backstory that I don't know about. Maybe Gare knows, and apparently you don't because you asked me about it.
I was reading it and I was like, what the fuck is Claremont talking about? Because, like, essentially, with Kitty phasing such a long distance, Claremont has Sage be like, it messes with the atmospheric pressure and it caused Storm to have, like, intense pain. And I was like, in what world? She's intangible. She's a ghost. She essentially does not read on anything when she is intangible. So why would it affect the atmosphere? Because she's going through the air anyway. I was just like, bitch, you're high. Chris,
Bitch, you're high.
Chris, drink some water.
I thought you meant my Chris, like he walked in behind me. I was like, what?
No, I'm now on a first name basis with Mr. Claremont.
Well,
Because of this
you
pod.
can call him you can call him Chris when you meet him.
Chris, my 2 journals full at this point. Last week it was 1 journal. Now it's 2 journals. I'm like, I have questions. So while Storm is in pain and Kitty gets taken to this place in Mount Haven, she's found in like the middle of the road by this like family who have found out about Mount Haven to take their son who is a mutant too. And so they get there, and that's where Kitty starts to like wake up, and she's like dressed as a schoolgirl, which was also really weird. And she starts to notice that like she's got a headache, she's glitching, she's seeing Strike around corners, and she's like acting kind of crazy. And everyone's like, Kitty, calm down. The person in charge at Mount Haven is this man named Paul. He's just like a blonde dude named Paul, and he's taking Kitty and this family around and talking to them about like their perfect life and how everything's lovely for mutants there, and it's how the world should be. And Kitty's like, this is lovely. Ow, my head hurts. And like she's just going back and forth. And Paul's basically like, hey girl, calm down. And everyone's looking at her like she's crazy. And she even is in her like inner monologue being like, I'm crazy. Like, I'm insane. Stryker is not here. He was. Spoiler alert, he was.
He was.
Kitty then starts like in the middle of this conversation where she's like in her head, like thinking about Stryker, she starts having like this full body attack and like is falling to the ground screaming. So Paul is like, I can heal you. We don't need medicine here. We have healers. So he gets a healer to go with him and Kitty, and he takes her down to the basement in a church, I believe. He's a father, right? He's a priest or preacher as well.
I think so. And then like what I also noticed is like when he brought her like I guess to the area, like it was like a chapel almost, that like it was like a televangelist kind of studio. Did you notice it had like lights and stuff too for
Yes,
like an
yeah.
audience? And I was like, where are we? What is happening? Honestly, this whole like thing with Kitty was weird for me because I was like, all of a sudden your head hurts, like I don't know what's happening. All of a sudden you're convulsing, like what is going? Like, and I don't feel like any of the questions got answered, Garrett. Like I felt like I was confused this whole time I was reading this book.
Yes, agreed. And even the answers that we do get, I was just like, no, I don't buy it. Like, what do you mean? I need more detail.
Exactly. Yeah.
This whole Mount Haven thing was, I will say I did enjoy reading this mostly because of how weird it was, but it was a bit too weird from even my taste.
I feel like the Mount Haven thing, if it was stretched out to longer than however many issues this was, 5, 6, whatever, like I feel like it could have been really, really good. But the fact that it felt like it was like so crunched and like we had to put all of this stuff together so fast and make you believe all of these things that are happening so fast, I was like, I don't I don't know what's going on. B, I don't like the answers that you're giving me. C, like Kitty just seems so weird in this, and it could just be an X-Treme X-Men thing. But I was just like, what is happening? Like, what's going on with her powers? We don't really get answers to that. Like, it was just like a hodgepodge of stuff. It was like, let's throw darts at a board and see what sticks, and then we'll just like make a story about it. It's just
Yeah.
like, what?
that is a very, very good description of this because, like I said earlier, so much happens in this. But as I was writing my notes, it really kind of highlighted to me how little actually happened in this. Like, there's not much thought process at all behind any of it. And you're right, it does feel like he just picked random things, threw them together, and was like, let me rearrange. Because, like, how are you truly, honestly, and this is my, like, before we continue the plot, I'm just going to say this. This movie, this story, I'm pretty sure came out right after or right around the same time as X2 X-Men United came out, which is a movie about Stryker and Deathstrike. And I think that Marvel was like, we want you to write a book, to write Stryker and Deathstrike into Extreme X-Men and make it work. There's a lot of things in this arc and the next arc that point to the movies, and they are not done well. And so I feel like either Marvel asked him to do it and he was like, I don't fucking like this, but I'm getting paid. Or he just decided to do it and it was kind of like off the cuff without a lot of thought. Either way, I don't think this was an idea that just came to him. I think that these two arcs truly exist because of the release of X-Men 2, X-Men United. And because why are you going to take a villain like Stryker and Deathstrike and give them so little to do here for nothing, especially with the payoff at the end, which we will get to because I have a lot of fucking feelings about it.
That's fair. Did you also bring up the fact that Deathstrike also like the way they found out about Paul was that Deathstrike got information, like I don't know, she can like change her body shape or something, and like she inputted herself into a computer and like was like flashed with like Paul or whatever.
Okay, so yes.
And then her body got taken over and she started killing people because her mind was still her mind, but she couldn't control her body. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, no, okay. I'm glad you brought this up because I didn't talk about it and it connects to the end of this. So flashing back to the plane, for whatever reason, Deathstrike puts her fingers, like turns her fingers into like a memory card and puts it into a little hole in the plane so that she can talk to somebody. But suddenly she is attacked by Paul. She has a vision of Paul and he infects her like a virus, like a computer virus, and takes over her body and gives her one single mission, and it is to kill William Stryker. So that's why Kitty and Stryker are gone, because Deathstrike tells Stryker, you're gonna have to kill me or I will kill you. So Stryker's just like, this bitch is intangible. And he grabs Kitty and they fall. And at some point they get separated and Kitty goes across the country to Mount Haven, but Stryker is right behind her. So I don't really know the details of how far apart they were when they got separated. But yes, Deathstrike does get, it's weird because I was going to say she gets taken over by the bad side when she's already bad. So this story is confusing. But yes.
Also, sorry. For someone who loves to write exposition, I didn't know Deathstrike was not a human being. I didn't know that until like 4 issues later. They're like, oh yeah, she's a cyborg. I'm like, what? Hello?
Yeah. Listen, the Stryker of it all is crazy. I'm excited for you to get to that in Uncanny. I love Deathstrike, especially in her early issues, especially with Wolverine. You're going to have a lot of fun with that. And she's really cool in the movies, which I think you've seen, right? You've seen the second X-Men movie?
But I haven't seen it in a long time.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
So, back to Kitty and Paul. Paul is taking Kitty into this televangelist chapel-like situation. They go downstairs into this room, and he gets another mutant to help heal her. Couldn't tell you this girl's name. It's a lady. She's nice. Kitty is...
Sounds like Amelia or something. It sounds right.
It's Amelia.
Amelia. You're welcome.
Kitty is in pain. She's screaming. She's like going in and out of consciousness. So she's like passing out. They can't really hold on to her. She's like slowly sinking into the table, into the floor. Then she wakes up and she's screaming in pain while also having like an internal monologue about like, why are there no adults here? Where are all the adults? And then something happens and it freaks Kitty out and she like falls through the wall. And she like grabs on to Amelia and she falls through this wall and we see that she has fallen through was it double-sided mirrors? Is that what it was?
I thought it was like glass, but I wasn't cause all of a sudden we were like in like a sterile environment for like medical procedures. So I don't know if it was like glass on the outside, like or like a surgeon room or something, or if it was double glass like you said, like a mirror, like I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
Okay, you know what, that's not even important. It was more of just a nitpicky thing with me being like, what the fuck, where are they? Because you don't know where they are. And so she falls through and sees a bunch of dead bodies of adults, like in different states of decomposition.
Okay, hold on though. Was that like for real? She actually saw them, or this was like a hallucination?
No, yes.
See, this is where
it was real.
Okay, so this is where I couldn't figure out what was happening. 90% of the time, I was like, "Is this real life? I don't know what's happening."
Hmm.
Like all of a sudden, there's a whole bunch of dead bodies. Like, what is going on? So, okay, cool. I'm glad that we can, that you can clarify some of these books for me because I'm like, I don't know what I'm reading. I'm just here.
But yes, it was at this point, the hallucinations from Stryker aren't really happening that much anymore, but the dead bodies were very much real. They are the dead bodies of the adults that come to the town or were already in the town, which we'll get to a bit later. But yes, the dead bodies are real. And as she fell in through this wall, she accidentally dragged Amelia with her. And Amelia phased only a little bit through the wall. The top of her head phased through the wall. So Kitty has accidentally killed this other mutant. And it's horrifying. Horrifying to read. So ridiculously sad. Like ridiculously sad. But also really annoying.
I was confused on how she died too. I was like, I don't understand.
They didn't make it so like it's really weird how it's drawn. In the first panel, you can tell that her head is like kind of through the wall, and there's like a little thing of blood. And then the second panel, her head is like back intact. And I was like, did Marvel tell them they could not do gore?
Okay, all right.
Like, was the drop
like,
of blood like? But that's what I got. Like,
was...
she went halfway through and stopped, and I know that like Kitty, if Kitty stops someone in the middle of a wall, like it will cut them in half.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't understand. I didn't quite understand what was happening because I thought they had phased all the way through, and then like all of a sudden, like I thought they were still phasing, right? And that's why I was like, "How is she dead?" Like I wasn't following, and it could just be like on my part, but I also thought that the art was kind of an interesting choice. Like I still couldn't like quite figure out what was going on. Like I did see like the blood like coming out of her nose and like kind of coming out of her eyes and stuff, but I was still like, I don't quite understand how she died. But now again, you've kind of explained it, so I'm glad that you can clarify some of the weirdness of X-Men.
Yeah, essentially Kitty stopped phasing her right when her head was in the wall, so it severed her brainstem. Like it was like an instant death kind of thing. Like her nerves were still moving, but like she was instantly dead. So like there was no pain, but it was still traumatizing for Kitty. At the same time that this is happening, the X-Men discover surveillance tech tied to Deathstrike. So the X-Men have made their way to Mount Haven. They've been tracking Kitty, and they made their way there. Sage takes a ride in the middle of this mutant that's basically just a bubble, like made out of bubble gum or something. It's a pink bubble.
He reminded me of what is his name? Is his name Glorp?
Glob.
I want to say his name is Glorp. Glob.
Glob. Yeah, I thought it was Glob. I was like, oh my god, is this our introduction to Glob? And alas, no, it was a bubble. I got so excited, and then it was not Glob. Not Glob, but okay, fake Glob takes Sage for a flight through the air, drops her back down, and then we later see Storm fly in, and fake Glob flies up and surrounds her too. This is important. This has all happened before the Kitty accidentally killing someone type thing. I'm giving you very few details on this situation because there's just so much happens that doesn't matter or make any sense. Bishop and Sage are kind of like investigating the town, and Bishop starts to realize that Sage is acting a little weird. Storm also starts acting a little weird, and then it starts to click that the town is being ran by nanotech. Like nanotech control. And so we go into issue 29 after the whole Kitty accidentally killing someone, and we discover that Paul is actually a consciousness made out of AI.
Listen, I hated this, okay?
I did too. I really did too. So Paul used to be a real live mutant person that was being like experimented on, and there was an AI program involved, and it became kind of infatuated with Paul. It started to care about Paul a lot. And when it realized that Paul was going to die, the AI consciousness merged with Paul and took over his body to keep him alive. And so it believes, this AI consciousness believes that its sole creative function is to save mutants by controlling them and everything in this little town to make this a perfect town. So it's infected basically the entire town via nanites and their nervous systems, and killed all of the humans that lived there and all of the adults. And
because they don't have the light.
Yeah, they don't have the light within them.
They don't have the light.
Yes, and It also now wants to escape into the global network, which would make it pretty much unstoppable and would rid the world of mankind and a lot of mutants as well. Meanwhile, with the X-Men, everything's kind of been falling apart. Wolverine gets into this fight with Deathstrike and she kills him.
Yeah.
Logan is dead. Cannonball flies over to him and is like, Logan! I love that we got to see his voice echoing through the trees while Storm and Sage were just like, I feel great, because they've been infected by the nanites. So they're just like, something's going on with Logan, but we don't care.
We're so happy.
And Bishop is like the only one that's mostly unaffected by all of this. Kitty's powers went so haywire that she killed someone, and she's like shattered throughout all of this. And basically the town just kind of devolves into nonstop crisis because Paul is now having a fight with Kitty, and Stryker has shown up down in this basement. Stryker reveals himself. There's like this big whole long ass scene where he and Paul basically just have a war of the minds, being like, well, fuck mutants, and Paul's like, well, fuck humans. But in like they're preachers.
They're like,
so they're not.
Yeah, they're quoting scripture the whole time, and I was just like, you've lost me. You've lost the plot. I'm lost.
Not the way that they were literally having a scripture off. Like it was, and Kitty's just like laying on the ground in pain, knowing that she just killed someone, and she's just like looking at them, and they're just the idea of a scripture off, and that's what they were having. And so, we get the Paul reveal that he's AI. And his story, you can tell as that story is coming out that Stryker's like kind of moved by it. Because Stryker also sees within himself this great responsibility to kill mutants. And he can relate to Paul in that Paul has this divine responsibility to protect mutants. And to the point where he kills humans. So Stryker's like, bitch, we the same. We're two sides of the same coin. And so Kitty, in the background of this like little bro fest where they're like having a scripture off and like looking at each other's boners, is pissed. she's mad. And so eventually we get to this moment where Kitty has like gained the upper hand against Stryker, and she has a gun to his head, much like he had a gun to her head back in the day that traumatized her. And she is fully aware of everything that he's ever done, and she's also so aware of how easy killing someone is. And she mentions that at the very beginning of this arc, that hating is easy, killing is easy. And she basically has this choice right now. I just accidentally killed someone. I could choose to kill someone. I'm not your puppet anymore, Stryker. And we are left with like a cliffhanger kind of moment where we see her finger on the trigger and we see like the lighting kind of change around the gun, and we're like, oh my god, Kitty Pryde just killed William Stryker. Nope, she didn't. But back up on the land, Wolverine has healed. He's back. And Bishop and he are going to go into this church, and Bishop's like, give me a minute. We're going to go find Kitty. Wolverine's like, nah, I'm going to go by myself. And so he starts to go. Logan can like smell that Kitty is about to like do something crazy.
Oh, he can track her.
Yeah, he's trying to track her. He's trying to track her down at the bottom of this church, but he also is aware of like her, I guess maybe some pheromones or hormones that are coming off of her, that she's like about to do something that she can't come back from. Which I was like, that's crazy of you. Like, Claremont, does Logan know that much just from smelling people? And I was also like, why is it important? Logan has killed so many people. Anyway, so
because maybe Logan sees Kitty as an innocent still, even though she's not quite innocent. From what I can gather, because she's killed people before, maybe he still thinks of her as innocent, and if he can save her from making a mistake that he's already made a million times over, he's gonna do it.
So you're right, and he is like, I'm gonna save her, but you know what? Not before the building blows up, and they think that Kitty's dead, and he's like boohooing, crying about it, and she comes out of the ground, and she's like, little old me. Whatever dialogue she had was really cringy and embarrassing. But she was like, I don't know, she called him something stupid. But basically she's like, I survived. I survived. She comes out of the ground. But back down inside before the explosion happened. Kitty and Stryker are having that thing. She's about to pull the trigger on him, and she decides, no, I'm not going to kill you. And Stryker's like, what if I merge with Paul and we blend our nanites together, because I think that we could find a middle ground and it might be what the world needs. They give a redemption arc to fucking William Stryker of all people and let him merge with the most evil human killing AI mutant so they could create one perfect individual. What the fuck kind of ending was this? So Kitty helps Stryker get into this tube. He merges with Paul, and so then they make the building explode and bury them deep underground, and Stryker's like, I will be back one day. What the fuck? What was this story? What was this book?
I do have a question. Has Stryker shown back up since then?
Couldn't tell you. I don't know. Maybe. I don't remember. I wrote
Maybe Claremont's waiting for his time to shine again.
He can look at a piece of art and have a fully formed story. He said that on Instagram last week. Anyway. I love him. So he's like a father to me. Listen. I wrote in my notes, Stryker has this bullshit, it's not forgiveness, but a moment of clarity moment. And then I put a throw up emoji because it makes me so mad that this is what they did with this stupid arc. She chooses not to kill out of hate.
I mean, guess. Good for
this
her.
Story, yeah, good for her. The way this story ends is Kitty's back in Chicago and she's like, I'm done hiding. And she makes an announcement that she wants to run for political office to make real change. And I just rolled my eyes and turned the page. Just swapped the screen. Moved on. Because I was like, absolutely fucking not. I can't. I hate it. I enjoyed this because it was weird. But I hated the ending so freaking much. Just so silly.
I can't even really say that I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it like I liked the beginning of us reading X-Treme X-Men, but it wasn't anything special. It was a story that Claremont decided to write.
Yeah, it felt very forced and very much just in the middle of the night and you're hungry, but you don't know what you're hungry for and you just kind of throw things into a bowl. That's what it felt like. And you're never satisfied and you still go to bed. You still eat it and you still go to bed. And the next day you wake up and you have a stomach ache kind of, and you're a little nauseated. That's how I felt about this. And I feel like maybe Claremont might have felt this way too. Or he was like, I'm a genius. I'm so good.
He was cooking. He was cooking up a great story.
He was cooking.
And William Stryker's been gone for 20 years now, or so.
Listen, these books, I'm just gonna level with everybody. I don't give a shit about these arcs this week. There's things of value, but I just did not have a good time.
What do you mean? Remy was in it.
You know what? I'm glad you brought him up because let's get into it. Because I do have things to say. Okay. All right. Issue 31 is the first issue in the Intifada arc. And Rogue and Remy are finally back. We open on Mulholland Drive and
shaking and uprising. Sorry.
Yes, it means shaking and uprising. Marsh just looked it up for us. I'm annoyed by it. We open on Mulholland Drive in LA with the Duncanto family having just a normal conversation in a car. Their daughter, Marie, wants to be a cheerleader. The parents are vibing, life is good. And then suddenly a gang of mutants comes blasting through, kind of like Fast and the Furious, and they start vandalizing their car. The dad loses control and the car goes off a cliff. And the teenage daughter is the only survivor. We see her climbing out of the wreckage holding her little brother's body. Her entire family is dead. It's very much...
That was actually tragic.
Yes, it was. A very solid villain origin story, I will say. Wish that it had panned out differently, but I was like, okay, he's cooking. I was excited with the way this started.
Yeah.
Marie kind of becomes a political symbol in a way. Claremont's telling a very different side to the whole mutant thing in this story. And I felt like it was going to be something really good. The rest of the world also is in hell. We see some aid workers in East Africa begging rebels to deliver medicine. Rebels literally kill them mid-conversation and start looting the supplies. A woman shows up, they try to assault her, and she's like, I'm from Genosha, now it's your turn. Her eyes glow. and they scream and she wipes them out. She kills those guys. That scene was
So
crazy.
so I actually forgot because of the rest of the story and that never got revisited. I forgot that it even happened. But when it happened, I was like, okay, all right. Who is this bad bitch? All right, I'm here for this. And then we never hear from her again.
We literally never see her again. We never see her again. Like it was Claremont. I thought it was so effective to show a human being negatively impacted by the shitty mutant gang that we saw in the expose issues, and then to show another mutant attacking humans. Now, in that situation, could it have been a little justified? Yeah. Because these people were like looting and killing people. But all we really take away from it is this mutant goes crazy and is like, you killed us, you killed people on Genosha. Now we're going to kill you. So basically they're saying that like mutant revenge is kind of global now. Then we shift back to Marie. She's in the hospital, broken, alone. She's fully bandaged because she's got burns all over her body. Police can't prosecute. She overhears that the police can't prosecute the mutants because of political fear. Her uncle is told to contact X-Corp, but that X-Corp only helps mutants. X-Corp is run by Roberto DaCosta and Warren Worthington III, by the way, just so everyone knows. Two very significant members in the X-Men world. And it lands hard with...
Also, don't like Roberto. From what I've learned from him so far.
I don't like him in this at all. And I love Roberto.
Okay.
So you've only gotten a little taste of him in Krakoa, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. He's very different in this.
And all I really know of him is that he seems to be like a spoiled little rich boy that has daddy's money.
Yes.
So far, at least. And especially in Krakoa. So, like, seeing him here, too, I was like, you're kind of slimy, and I don't really like you.
Yeah. That is his toxic trait. That is his toxic trait, I will say. You're going to really hate him in X-Men 97. Really.
Cool.
You're going to really
Love
hate him
that.
in
Love that.
But the fact that X-Corp only helps mutants really lands hard with Marie, who is traumatized. Her family is dead. In her mind, mutants killed her family, and the system is currently protecting them. And that's the seed that's kind of planted for Marie and for the audience.
But to be fair, though, that's kind of what's happening.
Yes.
It's kind of what's happening.
It is exactly what's happening. Because the X-Men went public, things are shifting across the country, and they're getting a lot more protection right now because they've just saved the world. The world's on their side, but that also means that the governing world is also on the side of the bad mutants too, which is causing problems. Meanwhile, at President Bush's ranch, not even a fucking joke, they're actually at President George W. Bush's ranch.
Can I say something really fast?
Absolutely.
So I was reading this, right? And it was like at the presidential ranch, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, oh, wait, this is when George W. was president. This makes all the sense. Because I was like, why are we on a ranch, and why is it called the presidential ranch? And I was like, oh, yes, because that's what George Bush did, was stay on his ranch, like 90% of the time.
Literally. At President Bush's ranch, a bunch of world leaders are casually having barbecue while discussing the mutant problem like it's a policy issue. Dr. Val Cooper, who is someone that has shown up in X-Men over the years time and time again, for any longtime readers, I hope you were happy to see Val like I was. Not because she's a great person, but because I knew who she was. I was like, I know this blonde bitch! I was so excited. Val gives a speech that basically is like, mutants are increasing, they're organizing, teen mutants are more dangerous than adults than ever, and after Genosha, mutants have a reason to fear and hate humans. So, like, the narrative is turning. Like, the tides are turning. The X-Men have always lived in a world that fears and hates them, and now the world is shifting and the narrative is shifting so that mutants fear and hate humans, too. And they're really kind of building to, like, a Civil War kind of vibe. And I don't know where it's going to go. We only have 10 issues left after we finish this arc. But not loving those vibes. Anyway, everyone is scared of everyone.
Hey, Gare.
Yes.
Gare. I have a feeling it's not going to go anywhere. If you really want my opinion for the next 10 issues, I feel like it's not going to go anywhere.
You're right. Especially with how this last issue ends. It's really not going anywhere. Meanwhile, Gambit and Storm are going full spy mode in Texas. Gambit's wearing a disguise that's eerily similar to Pierce Brosnan in some of the drawings, and I was like, that's gross. He gets clocked by this guy named Inspector Baltimore, or this lady named Inspector Baltimore, excuse me, and Storm knocks her out from behind like, oops. And then President Bush, I hate that I'm having to say this sentence, but President Bush mistakes Storm for Halle Berry and compliments her latest Bond movie. Because,
but you know why, right? You've seen the James Bond movie, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I just hate that President Bush was on panel talking about how Storm looks like Halle Berry because Storm was just played by Halle Berry too in X-Men, while also she's basically like they drew her to look exactly like Halle Berry. Like that's her disguise. But just the fact that it's President Bush is absolutely fucking bonkers.
You know what? I don't even think that Die Another Day had come out yet before this issue was out.
I wonder if like the trailer had come out and Claremont was like, we have to write it in.
Which is the movie that they were both in, because I think this was 2001, maybe it was 2002 when the comic came out. I don't know, but I know that Die Another Day came out in 2002.
Yeah, I forgot. You're like a really big James Bond fan, right? I forgot about that.
I am. Yes.
So you were like tickled to death reading this, I bet.
I was giggling, actually. I was reading it, I was like, that's hilarious. Because Storm kind of looks like Halle Berry. And Halle Berry was just Storm. And now I don't remember her name from Die Another Day, but she was there too. So it's just really funny. That
scene of her coming out of the off is so iconic. Is it the ocean that she's coming out of? Yeah. It's so iconic.
It is the ocean. That's a rip off of the first James Bond movie, right?
I don't think I've only really ever seen Pierce Brosnan ones and one or two Daniel Craig's.
I'll have to send you like the small clip or whatever, but it's Sean Connery and I think Sean Connery and Ursula Andrews, who in that movie plays Honey Rider, which that name is wild to me that I said that right now. She's coming out of the ocean and Sean Connery's just like leaning on a palm tree. So I'll have to find it so you can see.
I need to rewatch those. Gambit's like, I'm never letting you forget this to Storm about Bush calling her Halle Berry. Back in LA, a random mutant is going nuclear in the streets, cars exploding, police panicking. Bishop jumps in, tanks some blast, saves people, and the cop immediately is like, get the fuck out of here or I'm gonna arrest you too. And I was like, what? What the hell is going on? There's a lot of
he was on a power trip, yo.
That cop was on a power trip. Yes. The kid ended up dying. The mutant ended up dying. He's just a teenager. He was on the drug rave or kick. It's called different things, but it basically enhanced your powers and it made his power spiral out of control and he died. And it's sad. At this time, that was a big thing that was happening in New X-Men a lot, Morrison's run. So it was nice to see that it was mentioned here a little bit, that it was kind of going all over the world. So now we have one girl radicalized by mutants killing her family and one mutant kid dead from lack of control. Cut to Valle Soleada. I'm not going to say that again, but it's basically a little neighborhood, a little city town that Rogue has moved to and bought a house at. Rogue is currently a mechanic. She wears cut off shorts and she's got tattoos all over her. And she works at a bike shop. Bishop's bike is fucked up.
She has a belly button ring.
She does have a belly button ring. I clocked that too.
Which I noticed and I was like, what is happening?
So we catch up with her in a very Claremontian kind of way. Bishop's bike is messed up. So they find a local bike mechanic and they're talking to the guy and he's like, well, I can't do it, but my girl out there can take care of it. And out comes Rogue and Bishop's like, Rogue? Like, just happened to randomly go to the town that Rogue is in and finds out she's a mechanic. Rogue jumps into his arms and immediately kisses him. Her powers are still gone. She can touch people. She's happy. Just wild. That was a wild thing to happen. A wild way to draw it.
It's a wild way to tell someone that you don't have your powers.
Yeah. I can kiss you now, Bishop. That is my impression again.
Like what? Like what?
Yeah. They catch up. There's like a little scene of them catching up, and then we cut to that night at a Lila Cheney concert. If you remember from last week, Cannonball's girlfriend is like not time traveling, but like teleporter girl, Lila Cheney, who is also a pop star in the same vein as Dazzler. Everyone's vibing at the concert, and suddenly Rogue from across the room, and Sage from across the room, clocks a woman. Rogue seeks her out, and is like, "That's a pretty thick jacket to be wearing at a concert." And and the woman opens the jacket and reveals that she's like wearing bombs all around her, strapped to her body, and she shouts, "Death to mutants," and that's the end of the issue. Issue 32. That lady screamed, "Death to mutants." Cannonball grabs the bomber and flies her into the sky. Rogue cuts the bomb loose. Sam takes it into orbit, and then he catches Rogue and the girl, and we find out her name is Marie. It's the same girl from the crash at the beginning of the first issue of this arc. Rogue confronts her later, like the next day. Rogue sits her down and is like, "Why did you do that?" And Marie's like, "I don't got to tell you shit." And Rogue's like, "I kind of think I deserve an explanation." And Marie's like, "I'm leaving." And then Rogue was like, "Well, before you go, look at this flashlight that I have pre-installed with people who would have died at the concert."
It's so weird.
And she starts flicking through on this flashlight and projecting holograms of a pregnant woman who would have died. Rogue says she wasn't a mutant, and neither was her daughter, her baby, her unborn child.
You don't
and then
know
she
that.
Then she shows a random little kid, and she goes, "This is Timmy. He would have been orphaned because his parents were at the concert." And then she shows hundreds of other innocent people, and she's like, "Also, this family that you babysit for, her dad is a mutant, and he was there." And Marie's like crying, and she's like, "You don't understand." And she like caresses the hologram's cheek. Listen, I was just like, come on now. So then Marie's like, "You know what? Look what they did to me." And she takes off her eye patch and reveals that she does not have an eyeball. She lost her eye in the crash. Her body is scarred. Her life is gone. She can't even wear a bikini on the beach if she wants to. That's what she said.
That was the weirdest thing to be upset about. When she was like, "I can't even wear one piece, let alone a bikini." I was like, "Excuse me?" That's really
Marie?
what your first world problem is right now?
Like Marie, your parents died. Also, when I was reading it, like when I was first reading this issue, I was like, she's been stewing in this pain for years. No, her parents died like 2 weeks
Like
ago.
a week. No.
It's not been long at all. And she immediately, like, she gets better out of the hospital and immediately is like, "Murder, death to mutants in a nightclub."
Which, to be fair, is maybe like I'm not gonna say a rational decision. It's like an immediate reaction, right? Like something terrible happened to you because of this group of people. What are you gonna do about it? You know, your whole life is gone, your whole family is gone, and your only like saving grace, I guess, for yourself is to just take as many as you can with you, including yourself, so you can go meet your family too. And I'm just like, girl, you need some help.
Yeah,
you need to go talk to Kitty Pryde's therapist.
Mm-hmm.
She's obviously helping her.
She's also 16 years old. That's another thing that I kept forgetting about. This is that this is a 16-year-old child.
Because I'm sorry, listen. I know that you like Salvador's art, okay? But like sometimes I'm like, how old is this person? Like I thought that John Byrne couldn't draw kids. Oh, is he?
Yeah, he left. Yeah, he wait, he might be back for this issue, but he was gone for the last arc.
No.
I'm also glad you brought Salvador up because I've been meaning to say I hyped him up when we were talking about Gotham Central. And I realized that I like his covers. I don't like his interiors at all.
Interiors? That's fair.
Like at all.
Yeah, because he's still doing the covers, but yes, the interior artist has changed. You are correct. So I'm sorry, Salvador. I apologize. Igor, man, we gotta talk. I need you to draw people so I can know how old they are.
Agreed. Because she is drawn very much like a full-grown woman. Also, sometimes she looks like she's in her 30s. The way that she's drawn. To be fair, she did get burned, so her skin texture is different. But
yes,
there's still ways to remind us that this is a child. That was a 34-year-old woman. As a 34-year-old woman myself, I'll say it. So yeah, she's crying about her life is over, and then she's telling her, she's like, "You also took my house. My uncle tried to talk to..." Wait, she doesn't have a southern accent. Rogue does. Sorry, everyone. she's like, my uncle tried to fight back and talk to X Corp, but they basically shut him down legally and were saying that what we were doing was considered harassment and a hate crime. And then a lawyer showed up and was like, we want to buy your house. And me and my uncle were like, no, this is the house that I grew up in. And then suddenly they started having nightmares. And after a few days, her uncle was like, we're selling this house. I don't know why you are so against it. These nightmares are awful. And so then her uncle goes to a judge and is like, give me control over this deed so I can sell this house. And he does. He sells the house, takes her out of her home.
I mean, I don't know how it's set up for them, right? Like, I don't know if the family had like a will or a trust or whatever to leave all the stuff to Anna. No, her name is Marie, not Anna Marie. Marie.
Don't even get me started.
Sorry.
Don't even get me started.
And so, like, I was like, how can the uncle just like sell the house out from under her? And maybe he is the one that was like that had all the power. I don't know, but like, I just felt like I was just like, how can the uncle just like underwrite her like that? I have no idea because Claremont didn't tell me, so I'm just assuming things here.
Maybe legally because she was underage and he was the closest relative. He convinced the state that she was like out of her mind, and they put him in charge of the trust, and then, so he could do what he wanted with it, which is fucked and very 2000s, very 2000s.
It is.
So like,
also,
she's
the dream guy is very scary. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Agreed. So the nightmares, she said that they were having nightmares. Like, while they're talking about this, you see like a figure in the background behind the house, and it's like insinuated that there's a mutant causing the nightmares so that it convinces them to leave, because as soon as the house is sold, the nightmares stop. But she's like screaming and crying to Rogue, and they like walk from one room to the next, and they walk into Rogue's room, and I have been waiting to talk about this. So Rogue has chosen the name Anna for herself. Rogue is famously played by Anna Paquin, Oscar-winning actress Anna Paquin in the X-Men films. And on the walls, multiple, in Rogue's bedroom are 3 movie posters. One for The Piano, which is the film that Anna Paquin won the Oscar for when she was 5 years old, or 6, something like that. She was young. She's the youngest Oscar winner ever. She was like actually like 8 or 9. But it doesn't matter. I forget what the second one is. It's another Anna Paquin film from that time frame. And then Fly Away Home, starring Jeff Daniels and Anna Paquin, about a little girl who just really loves geese.
It's actually a really cute movie if you haven't seen it.
It's so good. It's such a really good movie. But like, while she's screaming at Rogue... Go ahead.
I also used to have a crush on Jeff Daniels.
I still do. He's so hot, even in his old age.
I'm also going to interject real fast. I have to tell everyone that I texted Gare and I was like, Anna, what a choice for a name. Forgetting fully that Rogue's actual name is Anna Marie. So that's cool.
Yes. On some, I'll also say this, on some fan forums, her last name is listed as Dan Canto, the same last name as Marie. I'm just going to let you sit with that because I don't know. But anyway, so there's posters of Anna Paquin on the wall, and it's not drawings. It's actual photos that are kind of blurred. So Chris Claremont was like, I love Anna Paquin playing Rogue. I think she's great. Is what I got from this. But they're fighting, and they walk into Rogue's room, and Marie's like, oh, I love this movie. Like, immediately, the fight's over, just because they both love Fly Away Home, starring Jeff Daniels, which I thought was incredibly silly, but I also laughed a lot about. She continues the story. The neighborhood has become a mutant community, which is where Rogue now lives. She finds the Purity hate group online, and they teach her. Purity is the hate group that is from the Kitty Pryde miniseries, by the way. And they give her the resources to learn how to build bombs. And so she goes and visits her parents' grave to tell them that she's going to be with them soon because she's going to go kill a bunch of mutants and blow herself up, only to find that her parents' tombstones were defaced by muties. So she decides, yeah, I'll be right back, y'all. And she finds out that Roberto is supposed to be at Lila Cheney's concert and that it's going to be like a mutant reunion. And so she goes. And, we know what happens from there. And even after all this, she says, I'm not sorry, I would do it again. And that's how the issue ends.
Which is so crazy.
Yeah.
Just like, I would do it all over again. Like, what?
Yep. Hello? What's even crazier about it is that Rogue is already on her side. And Rogue's like, we have to get justice for this little girl. Which is, she's not wrong.
I mean, she's not wrong. And maybe Rogue is like, well, maybe if we get justice for her, she won't want to kill a whole bunch of mutants, Like, maybe if we can put the mutants away that killed her family, maybe it will turn her over a new leaf or something.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, we go into issue 33, and the trial has already started for Marie. How much time has passed? Do trials happen this fast? I guess in comic books they do. Because outside of the courthouse, there's a bunch of pro-Marie protesters and anti-Marie protesters. Inside, she pleads not guilty. Roberto is basically like, throw the book at her. Politicians want an example made. And yeah, like that's what it is. We're getting her trial. It seems like it's not going well. Back at home, Rogue is having a nightmare where she's slowly turning into X-Men movie Mystique with scales and nudity. She sees herself killing her friends, loving that she's killing her friends, being told that she's inherently bad, and Mystique's like, you're always going to be just like me. She wakes up screaming, I am not Mystique. Her psyche is cracking. And we see in the distance the creepy figure from before with the nightmares. Then a lawyer named Jared Malloy shows up and is trying to persuade Rogue to sell her home. Sage realizes that this is, just, your standard manipulation that they do. They go into, like, in real life, they go into areas that they want to gentrify, and they, like, trick people into selling their homes. So that's basically what they're doing here, and trying to scare the humans into leaving, because Rogue is a human now, by the way. And for some reason, Cannonball pretends to be her husband. What was that about?
Listen, there's lots of choices that are made in these 5 issues that I'm just kind of like, why? Why are they being made? We have Rogue kissing Bishop, and then Cannonball being her pretend husband, and then I don't even know if we've already passed the other point yet, or if we haven't gotten to it yet. But
that's where we are right now.
Okay.
That's the next thing. So, meanwhile, Storm and Gambit are having a swim. So Storm and Gambit are still at the presidential ranch, and they have found a little area to hang out and swim in together. Storm gets fully naked in a conversation with Gambit, and they have a very passionate kiss. And Storm's like, Rogue is going to kill us when she finds out. And Gambit's like, she has my heart, so it doesn't matter that I'm kissing you.
This is such Claremont bullshit. Like, it feels very, like, similar to, and I bring it up every time I talk about them, to the Warren Scott Jean situation. Every single time, that's what I feel like this feels like. And I'm just like, why are we bringing in this unnecessary kiss between Storm and Gambit? I have never seen any, like, chemistry like that between them until, like, that page. And I was like, hello? Where did this come from, and why is it here? I just... Also, I'm pretty sure there's not wasn't there like a waterfall or something? There is no waterfall in Texas, so I don't know where that came from either. And there sure as hell ain't one in Crawford, Texas, for damn sure. So, like, I don't know where that came from.
It's also weird because Gambit's introduction into the series is when he runs into, oh my God, okay, X-Men Outback era stuff ended with a bunch of them going through this portal that, like, fucked up their lives. It's when Psylocke got put into Kanan's body. Storm is transformed into a 14-year-old little girl. And that's how Gambit is introduced, because he, like, gets her.
Okay.
So it's like, why are you now making out with the adult version of her when you, like, took care of her like a father would? That's fucking weird, Claremont.
Right, because I do remember vaguely, like, a couple years ago that Claremont wrote, like, a miniseries of Gambit, and it was, like, when he was, like, taking care of Storm when she had, like, reverted back to, like, her 14-year-old self. And I was like, that's a weird, like, and I hadn't read X-Men before, so I was like, that's weird. Why is this a Gambit book? And so, like, now that you said that, I was like, yes, okay, cool. Because I almost said it, but I was like, no, that's not right. That can't be right. And apparently it is right. So
it is right. It is correct. That's how we meet Gambit, when he's basically the pseudo-father of 14-year-old Storm. Very strange. So I felt very weird about this. While they're like hanging out in the water, wrestling, making out, exercising.
Wrestling.
All of the world leaders show up and start talking to them, and Storm is like, 1 second, and uses the power of lightning to put on a really slutty bathing suit. And I was like, you better go off, girl. I was like, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could have a reveal. It was a fire bathing suit, but can she do that? Apparently. That's crazy. Anyways, Storm basically tells the world leaders that mutants and humans need shared authority and that the real threat is unstable young mutants and that Professor Xavier isn't enough anymore, which is true. But I don't know about the global mutant policing force, though. I don't really love the idea of that. And I did feel like that was really not very Storm to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh no! Did you lose? Are you gone?
No, no. I know.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand my next notes because I'm confused about the trials, and I think I did not take enough of trial notes on Marie's trial. What do you know? What happens with Marie's trial?
Marie is found not guilty, I believe, unless there's only one, and it's against the mutants that attacked her.
Okay,
they were
because
also found not guilty.
I remember she pled not guilty in a panel.
Mm-hmm. I remember that too. I don't. You know what? Now that you say that, I don't think there was ever any like conclusion to that. What issue is
to
this?
her trial? 33.
Yeah.
Was her trial.
Give me 2 seconds.
Or maybe she pled not guilty and they were like, well, it's going to go to trial and we just don't see her going to trial and they let her go back home.
But I vaguely remember them talking about her, like, her sentence or whatever. I didn't spell
This could be a Claremont thing where he started something and didn't finish it. You know old Jonathan over there. So in issue 34, there's another trial and it is for the mutants that caused Marie's family's death. And basically, before this trial in the last issue, or maybe the beginning of this issue, there's a scene where Rogue and Bishop, I believe, roll up on these mutants at the beach. They're having like a party bonfire, and Rogue kicks their asses and it's like, y'all are bad people and I'm not a mutant anymore, but I'm an X-Men still and I can kick your ass. And that's basically the scene. She pisses them off, but then they go to trial and it's a very quick trial. We don't get to see a lot of it, but basically what happens is there's not enough evidence and Rogue and Bishop's testimony isn't credible, and the DA admits that the case gave him nightmares, so the kids are not guilty. And basically they're like, we know where you live, bitch. When Rogue gets mad in the courtroom about the kids getting off with it, she's not okay. She's really pissed.
You know, I kind of messaged you about this. Like, I felt like Rogue was really weird with these teenagers. Like and like extremely violent in a way that maybe she didn't need to be.
I agree.
Especially like on the beach fight, when she was like basically could have like stabbed one of them, and I was like, "What are we doing?"
She did. She stabbed them in the neck with her. So it was a mutant that can create spikes, and like she shot spikes at Rogue, and they missed Rogue because she is Rogue, and she has 2 spikes, one in each hand, and she stabs her in the neck. It looks like
that's right. Yeah.
And I was like, did she just kill this mutant? I was like, mutant on mutant death is okay right now. Like, are they bad mutants? Yeah, but mostly they're kids. Like, also, when she tells them that, like, what they did killed the family, only one of them is like, they deserve to die. The other ones are like, we were just trying to have fun. Like, we were just trying to scare them. They didn't mean to kill them.
Yeah.
They're stupid kids with powers, you know?
And
like,
you know,
teaching them a lesson is one thing.
Everyone's been a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Teaching them a lesson is one thing, but, like, she got a lot of joy out of the violence, and maybe it's because she don't have powers no more, but it's not explained, it's not expanded upon. It just makes her look really bad.
Yeah, it really does though. I don't, and it could be that she doesn't have powers, so she feels like she's human now, so like I guess the rules kind of don't apply to her anymore. Like I said, I just don't understand where this is going. And like she had like a pissing contest in the courtroom, which is also weird. I was just like, I don't know, it's just weird. It's just weird. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's 25 years later. I don't like it.
Yeah. It started off with a really strong metaphor and it slowly devolves into just kind of meaningless blah. And so, yeah, like 2 trials that happen really fast that we don't get to see all of, and we don't even get a conclusion to the other one. X-Corp is looking real shady. That Jared guy has been buying up all the land in the town. There's proof of that now. Someone is engineering this entire human displacement, and it seems like Roberto da Costa is the one doing it. That night, though, however, Rogue gets attacked again by Revenant, who is the nightmare lady person that keeps hanging out in the ocean. Have you noticed that? She's just chilling in the ocean a lot.
Maybe her power is sent her in the ocean. That's how she like
she's like,
manifests.
I have to be surrounded by salt water or I can't give them nightmares. It's a choice that they're sticking with. So Revenant's attacking Rogue, and then this person named Manacle shows up with these like barbed wire chains and wraps them around Rogue and throws her away from Revenant. Revenant's like, "What the fuck? She was mine." And they're like arguing while Rogue is like crawling away, now basically naked because the barbed wires ripped off most of her clothes and like cut her neck, and she's like crawling to these motorcycles. Inside of the house, Bishop has been having a dream that Sage has went over to the dark side and is like, you can take the girl out of the Hellfire Club, but you can't take the Hellfire Club out of the girl. Literally a line in the book.
I was so confused. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, the way they explained it was it was like this whole scene of Sage betraying everyone, and I was like, oh my god, Marsh was right. And then the next panel is like Sage on the phone with Rogue being like, Bishop is recovering, and then it shows Bishop and he's like, it was all a terrible nightmare.
I was like, oh cool, Sage is actually evil. Cool, great, this is awesome. And then no, she's not evil. It's just a nightmare from Revenant, which is
yeah.
Just thinking of her somewhere else.
Rogue's like stealing one of Bishop's motorcycles, or maybe her own motorcycle. Actually, I forgot. She's a mechanic. So Rogue's getting on a motorcycle, and she's talking to Sage on the thing, and then she like overhears Sage being like, Rogue's basically useless or something like that without powers. She gets pissed off, and Rogue is like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Roberto's, who's conveniently having a gala right now. So she does. She rose up mid-party and she's like, I have questions and I'm not leaving till you answer them. She lifts him up by his throat. By the way, we're in issue 35 now. This happens mid-panel. It ends with her rolling up and then starts with her rolling up. She lifts Roberto up by the throat in front of a bunch of rich people and he's like, I have guests here. Put me down. Go ahead.
Cannonball's also here as a guest of Roberto. With this other mutant who I've never seen before. I forgot her name already.
Skips. Amara.
No, Amara.
Magma.
Amara, yes, is here as well. And there's like some weird tension between Cannonball and Amara, and I don't know if they dated before previously or like they just have feelings for each other or like what's going on, but they got something going on. But then also like DaCosta has some feelings for her too, so like I'm very confused. And then we have like Empath, who's Manuel, who also like can like up your emotions, which is crazy.
Manipulate your emotions.
And then we have the return of
Elias
I forgot
Bogan.
his name.
Elias Bogan. Yes, I did not. Okay, so there is a subplot where we see, what is Cannonball's name? Why am I losing his name? It doesn't matter. Sam Guthrie. Sam picking up Amara from the airport. It's just a whole subplot to bring her in. It shows like weird romantic tension between them. And like the whole rivalry of him and Roberto. It's all old New Mutant shit. And I don't understand why it's important here. I was like, did you just need another mutant? Why is Magma here? I do not understand.
Maybe Magma is the big key to killing Elias. Who knows? Not me. I don't know where this whole plot is going at all.
We will see, I guess. But yeah, so they're there at this party. We do see a flashback with Sam and Rogue from when they both came to Xavier's around the same time. Rogue left the Brotherhood. Sam came from Kentucky, so they didn't trust him either. Very silly thing.
Hold on. If I have to hear that Sam is from Kentucky one more time in this book, Gare, I might lose my mind. I have heard like every panel issue he is from Kentucky. I know. And his dad was a coal miner, and so was his grandfather, and he was destined to be a coal miner, but he's a mutant. And I get it, Claremont. I understand. It's
literally every time we see him. Every scene, it's like Sam grew up in the mountains of Kentucky. Like, yeah, you're right. But then we got a whole flashback scene where he was like, us Southerners have to stick together. I'm from Kentucky. And so Rogue was like, Sam, I really owed you my life because I would have left the X-Men that night had it not been for our conversation in the woods about us being Southern. Literally.
Us being Southern.
Pretty much a direct quote, y'all. Pretty much a direct quote. So
Sam's pulling, I'm from Kentucky, just like people are like, I'm from Texas.
Literally, he's real proud. I've been to Kentucky. What are you proud about?
I have too.
So yeah, Rogue is lifting Roberto by the throat. The X-Corp security gets involved. Cannonball gets mind-warped by a girl named Skits, while Rogue gets turned into this Reed Richards from hell, like stretchy, elastic. Like she just basically
Like,
is, when you pick up ramen noodles with your fork.
yes, but like when Wanda evaporates Reed Richards in Sorcerer's, or no, what is
Multiverse,
it?
yeah. Multiverse of
Multiverse.
Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it's
So
like.
imagine that. Imagine that.
So they're like
Everyone.
she has no control and she's in a lot of pain, and every time it shows Rogue for the next like 6 pages, you cannot look her in the eye. Like you can't she's like, imagine me just stretched. It was awful. She looked terrible. Roberto blasts them into the sky. Meanwhile, a shadowy telepath is controlling everything, manipulating emotions, creating nightmares, using the drug kick to enhance mutants. It's a very, very specific orchestration by Elias Bogan from last time, who used to work with Sage and the Alaskan murders and all of that. But now when we see Elias, he's just a full silhouette with red eyes, even when he's in the room with you. And I was very confused about this. Did you also notice that they kind of drew him like he had a very like womanly figure?
Oh no, I didn't notice that.
I said, "Why are you curvy?"
A very thin man. You could just be a very thin, curvy man with a dump truck. Who knows?
God, what I would give to have a thin, curvy man with a dump truck. And he is a demon twink. Listen, and I've gone through my fair share of demon twinks, and Elias Bogan is right up there with them. This is kind of where the story ends, y'all. Rogue is here, they get blasted to the beach, and these other mutants show back up. Rogue suddenly gains her normal elasticity back and fights the mutants again, and the story just kind of ends because Elias Bogan has come in, and it's kind of derailed what we were building. We do get a little update with Marie visiting her family's grave at the end, where she's crying and apologizes and says she's going to use her time left to make them proud. We see the graveside scene. Rogue is with her. She's crying. They hug. Back at Roberto's offices, we see Roberto and Amara being like Elias Bogan, and they're forced to kiss. They're talking about plans to destroy the X-Men, and Elias Bogan reminds us once again that all of this is so he can get Sage back. Empath is there crying. Very strange little scene. And then Elias Bogan makes Roberto give like a televised like speech. And while this speech is happening, we see a random little boy like in his room at the end, cleaning a rifle with a purity poster on his wall. And it's just kind of letting us know that the radicalization has hit the children. And
I didn't even realize there was a purity poster. That's crazy.
So it's a little, basically it was like a school shooter kind of drawing. So yeah, that basically wraps up the X books for the week. We have 11 issues left. What is your score? What is your score, and how did you feel about these arcs this week?
I'm trying to remember what I gave it last week. I gave it like a 6.
We both gave it a 6.
That sounds about right. Okay,
yeah, we both gave it a 6.
Just because, like, I felt like a lot of things happened, but nothing happened. It felt like a big nothing kind of a burger. Like it was just like stories where like nothing was expanded on. It was just like, hey, here are these things, and here's a story that I'm gonna throw, darts and dartboard at and hope that you enjoy them. I personally didn't care for it all that much. So for me, I'm probably gonna go down to like a 5, I think. And hopefully the rest of the series can somehow bring it back up. But like, it was fine. And I think if I had to read the Kitty miniseries, that I would have brought it down even more than I brought it down. But
it absolutely would have. I'm gonna choose not to include the Kitty in my score.
Okay, but I mean, I think if the God Loves Man Kills Part 2 could have been somehow expanded upon or elongated, it just felt very rushed for something that could have been so good. And that just feels like what's happened a lot in these arcs and in this book, is that like there are some really good ideas there, right? But we're like trying to hammer so much together so quickly that we can't get the whole story out. And I get it, story arcs are usually like 4 or 5 issues, but sometimes you have long expanded ones. Claremont's done it before, where he's had long expanded arcs. Like, I don't understand why we have to feel like we have to push everything together so quickly. And it could be that the times were changing. Everyone's moving at a rapid pace now. It's the early 2000s. Everyone's moving at a rapid pace. Maybe we just felt like we had to like rush everything. God Loves Man Kills, not for me. I hope the original one is way better than the part 2, because that was not great.
It is not a worthy successor.
And then it's a Disney sequel, huh?
Yeah. That's Cinderella 3 issue in time. Yeah.
And then the last arc that we just read, everyone just feels like they're so out of character. I don't like, and it could be again because Rogue and Remy don't have powers. I don't know much about everyone else on the team. I don't know much about Bishop. I don't know much about Sage. You know, I can't really speak to them. But like Storm also seems way out of character. Like you brought up before, she wants to have like this police force for the world. That doesn't seem like it's much in character for her. The whole Gambit Storm situation is kind of weird. It like I said, it felt like there was so much packed into all of his issues, but nothing happened.
Yes.
Nothing happened.
Yes.
But those are my thoughts on the 2 arcs. A whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. The thing that bothers me the most about it all is how out of character everyone is. That bothered me a whole lot throughout this. Like the Gambit and the Storm of it all. Like Sage and Bishop were barely in this arc at all. And then the Rogue, focusing on Rogue, and it didn't even feel like Rogue. That really, really bothered me. The God Loves, Man Kills, like, I decided an issue or 2 into it that I was like, this is just some fucking drivel, like X2, X-Men United Force bullshit. So I just kind of like was like, whatever, and slept through it. And like you can tell with how I recapped it was that I just didn't give a shit when I took my notes on it. Like I just didn't, because it was so pointless and it felt like if ChatGPT had existed back then, it felt like he would have used ChatGPT to make that. That's how I feel. Now, I'm not including the Kitty miniseries in my number, but because of how much it bothers me that everyone was so out of character, I'm moving my down from a 6 to a 4.5. And I hope
4.5.
Yeah. Listen, I felt the first week when we had such a bad time, I felt like I was fighting for my life because I had picked this, and it's like, it's nostalgic for me because it's like the first book that I read, and I didn't read all of it, obviously. But like in my brain, it has always been like this golden thing because it was like the thing that got me into them. And so I am just massively disappointed. Like massively disappointed. And I'm like, I'm gonna be tough on it because of that. Because like, again, the first week I felt like I was fighting for my life because I was like, no, it's good. Like, because in my brain, I was still thinking with little 8-year-old Garen's brain. I'm like, but I like, they're so cool looking. I can't defend it anymore after the things that I read this week, especially the Kitty thing. If the Kitty thing was involved, it would have brought it down to a 3. I'm not even fucking fronting. Like it is honestly. I'm hoping next week is better. I'm praying that next week brings it up to at least a 5 or a 6, at least a passing grade. But it is one of the worst X-Men stories I've ever read overall so far. Very disappointed. Very glad that we've done it though, because like now I know. Like I have the full run of it because and it's still like a nostalgic thing to me, and I still love the art, and I still think that, you know, there are great ideas, and it's still special to me. But if I'm being honest, it is not what I remembered it being. And so yeah, it's a little bittersweet for me because it's kind of burying a part of my childhood, but it's also, you know, there are so many more great X-Men stories that are out there. This one is not one of them. But I'm kidding. I do like that run. But you know, like that, yeah. So for me it's a 4.5 right now. And it like, if someone is listening and thinks it's harsh, imagine like the thing that you loved so much when you were 8, finding out that it actually sucks miserably. Like that's how I feel about it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this, on it right now. I'm hopeful.
I'm sorry.
But realistically, that's where it's at. Before we go, do you have any pop culture things you want to talk about? Any pieces of media that you listened or watched or read this week that you wanna gab about?
Yes, but first I have a comment that I have to make that I realized as you were talking about your X-Men, about X-Men. What's funny about this is that we're reading X-Treme X-Men, which is also being written around the same time that Mark Waid's writing the Fantastic Four. So the fact that we're going to be reading 2 different stories at the same, like from the same time period, is actually really
every
cool
book so far. Every book so far has been the early aughts. Gotham Central was
yeah, it has been.
2003. Yeah, 2002, 2003. We're just, well, you know what? We are millennials. We are baby millennials, and it's coming out on this podcast subconsciously.
Yes, my piece of media this week is that I started watching One Piece, the live action on Netflix, and it's actually really, really good.
I'm sold.
Like I
Listen,
started it. Go ahead.
Sorry, I got excited because like I added it to my list last week, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it soon and see what it's about because you talked about the manga, and I was like, that's crazy of you. But in my brain, it's just been rolling around, and I'm like, why do I kind of want to watch One Piece? Anyways, I'm excited to hear you talk about this, so go ahead.
So I've only watched like 1.5 episodes, but I have seen like 50 episodes of the anime, and I will say that they go through a lot of like, I guess, anime issues in the first episode, which is really cool because like you still get what you need out of all of it, right? And it's not like, it doesn't feel like it's being dragged on. Sometimes anime can make you feel like it's being dragged on. The live action is actually just like, there's differences, right? But they're good differences. And it's just really fun. And like, I love Luffy, and Zoro's also kind of hot. Actually, they're all kind of hot except for Luffy. Luffy is not for me, but everyone else is hot. But I was worried. I was worried about how they were going to do Luffy's powers because I don't know how much you know about One Piece, but it's not really a spoiler because you find out within like 10 minutes. But essentially there's like these fruits, they're called dragon fruits, and if you find one and you eat one, it gives you like this like power, but you can no longer swim. So like if you fall overboard in the ocean, you can't swim, someone has to save you. So that's basically what you trade. You trade your being able to swim for this mystical power. So Luffy's power is that he can stretch like Reed Richards. And so I was worried about how that was going to translate into live action. And Netflix actually did a really, really good job with it. I was actually really, really impressed. It's just, so far, it's just fun, and it has action in it. And like I said, a lot of the people in there are attractive. And then you meet, what is his name? Buggy the clown. He's in episode 2, and he was scary in the anime. Dude, he is way scarier in the live action. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of him so you can get an idea of him really quickly. So this is the anime Buggy the Clown. Okay, it's not focusing. Focus. And then this is the live action. This is who I was introduced to. Oh no, come on.
Yeah, kind of. Enough.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those people.
His nose is very scary. Yeah.
I'm one of those people that is really, really, really hates a clown. Like, really hates a clown.
That's
I have
fair.
a story to tell you off mic.
Okay.
Sometime about a clown.
That's fine.
I know it's insane. I'm excited to watch it though, because I mean, I've looked at the live action. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it because the season 2 just came out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually why I started it, was because season 2 just came out.
And I've been seeing a lot of talk about how like Netflix has plans to like do it for the next 20 years, essentially like 12 seasons. Is that true?
That I don't know about. I know that they have season 3 already that's like planned out. They haven't obviously filmed it yet, but that's already planned. I assume if it keeps doing really well that they're just going to keep going with it. Because, you know, One Piece is the longest anime, maybe even manga. I don't know if that's true or not, but
That's 100+ volumes.
It's 100+ volumes. It's like 1,000 episodes
Mm-hmm.
of anime. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
Well, I'm glad to know that you like it, because that means I'll probably enjoy it then. The thing about it on Twitter that I've been seeing is like how hot everyone is, and I'm like, wait a minute, maybe this show would be just fun to watch because everyone's kind of hot.
Have you looked up Zoro yet from the live action?
I couldn't tell you that name. I've seen, so just a lore. Do you remember the story I told you about the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde?
Yes.
Okay, that same person, in a very similar fashion, made me watch One Piece fight scene compilations on YouTube.
No, he did not.
So that's kind of my only knowledge of One Piece, and one reason why I haven't watched it.
Okay, well, Zoro's the green-haired guy. Have you seen him?
Hold on, how do you spell that? Z-O...
Z-O-R... Yeah, Z-O-R-O. Yeah. Live action. Although he's hot in the anime, too. Listen, I'm here for Zoro in general.
Oh, he's fine. Hold on now. Hold on now. Oh my God, skinny curvy with a dump truck, just like
Insert
we said
pictures here
before.
for everyone.
Oh,
That's
sorry,
what we
everyone.
said, Bubba.
Sorry, I was being greedy and selfish.
He'll add him in post. It's fine.
Look at that. Look at him. All right. Well, I love that. I guess I'll probably start it then. How many episodes are there in each season? Do you know? I can look that up,
8,
I guess.
I think. I think there's 17, it says. Yeah, 17 episodes so far.
Okay, easy. My pop culture for the week is also a television show. It is the HBO TV series Industry. I kept seeing tweets about Daddy Jon Snow, Kit Harington, being in this show. And I think that he is a very hot person. And I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. Surprise, he is not in season 1 of the show. But I was very pleased to discover that it's actually an incredible show. It's set in the UK. It's set in London at this big bank, and it follows a group of recent college graduates who have made it and who have been hired at this bank. It's like one of the most competitive banks in the world. It's kind of like the stock market, but the way our stock market is set up, but in the UK and at a giant bank. And so they're in this very competitive program, and like they are all trying to prove themselves before the 6-month mark, where the bank will decide if they're going to hire them full time or not. It is, and like the main character is an American girl who does not have the qualifications and like faked her college transcripts and got the job anyway.
Crazy.
Agreed. And so you have the stress of that, but also it's super fascinating because it's like these kids, and I say kids, they're like all like 25, 26, like trying to make it in this like fast-paced world. And in the very first episode, one of the guys is like pushing himself too far and staying like overnight and working all night long, and he ends up having a heart attack and dying, and he's like 24 years old. And it like sets the tone for the rest of the show. But it's so good. Kit Harington is eventually going to be in it. Jonathan Byers is eventually going to be in it. He joined the main cast this season after Stranger Things ended. Kiernan Shipka's going to be in it. It's so good. It's kind of like the way I've been describing it to people. I don't know if you ever watched this show. Back in like our days, 2010, 2011, there was a really popular UK show that had like invaded America called Skins. And it starred Nicholas Hoult. Did you ever watch Skins?
I did not watch Skins. My sister watched Skins, though.
Okay, so I would, like, the way I've been describing this is like if Skins met 25-year-olds. Like, that's what this feels like. It's a very raw, brutally honest look at like what these people's lives are like. And like, they're not rich, but they're like a part of this. They're like outliers that have somehow invaded this, like this world and this society. And it's just really addictive. And I'm almost done with season 1. And it's truly like one of the best first seasons of a show I've ever watched. Every single episode ends and I'm like, well, I have to start the next one. I have to force myself to stop watching it to do other things because it's that good. But yeah,
okay,
that's my pop culture for the week. Industry.
Okay. I've seen it on HBO. I've seen it like, marketed to me. And I'm like, that looks interesting. And it gets added to my to watch list.
Did you like Succession? Did you watch Succession with Kieran Culkin?
I've watched some of Succession. That show is so depressing. Sometimes I have to take a break. I've taken like a 3-year break, but yes, I've seen some of it.
Yeah,
because that whole family is just terrible people.
Yeah, well, that's kind of it. This show feels a lot like that. It's not as depressing, but it is pretty depressing sometimes. But I'm fascinated by like the human mind, like in the way that people interact in moments like that. So I think that's why it's like kind of my bread and butter. I like the character interactions, but yeah, that's my pop culture for the week. I'm very HBO minded right now. I've been watching a lot of HBO.
That's fair. I've been watching a lot of Netflix, so we're on separate sides of the fence right now.
But yeah, I think that's it. I don't really have anything else to say about X-Treme X-Men other than I'm very glad we only have 11 issues left, and I'm very excited to start Fantastic Four. Yeah,
me too. I'm not hating on X-Treme X-Men, but I think that you have a much better time reading the Fantastic Four around this time than you are reading X-Treme X-Men.
I'm hoping for that. I'm hoping it's going to be a lot of fun. But if you have nothing else to say in regards to the X-Men, same time.
I unfortunately do not.
Period. Same time next week.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Period. Bye.
We did it.